Yeah, we had a bit of a technical breakdown. It was like the road to hell, you know. And I mean, one of the problems is had such an unprecedented Mercury retrograde this time. I mean, a week before Christmas, my laptop gave up the ghost, and then bills had to be replaced as well, husband's bills. Then we had the heating go out on Christmas Eve, which in Colorado is not exactly the best situation to be in. And so when it came to doing the show, I'd actually only got my new laptop a day or so before, and I hadn't actually tried connecting up headphones and everything else, and we had so many problems. We just had to abandon the show. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully connecting with Joseph on this one, so that we can have a good conversation. And obviously you've not introduced him yet, so I won't give the game away, but I think it's going to be a really good show if we can get him on board.
How did you come to meet him?
I actually connected with him on Facebook. He made a comment about in a thread about the election, actually, which I found very interesting, and it was very much, you know, in line with the discussions that we've had on previous shows. So I connected with him, and then we exchanged some information, and he knew that he picked up from my profile and what have you that I do a radio show. So he sent me a profile, said, you know, I'd really like to be on the show if that's okay with you, because it fits very nicely into the topic areas that we cover on our show, which is the Conscious Living show on Blog Talk Radio. So I arranged to have a call with him, which I do with all the guests on the show, so I can really get to know them. And we had the best conversation. We were on for about an hour and a half, just, I think, you know, chewing the fat, putting the world to rights and everything else. So he's got not only his expertise as a numerologist, which is letting the cat out of the bag, but he's also very, very aware of, you know, what's really going on in the world, let's put it that way. And actually has quite not an exact background, but, you know, he's also come from a very logical, scientific, analytical background into a much more metaphysical and esoteric career. So, you know, just like, you know, the kind of thing that you used to do, Nancy, and that I've done in IT and everything, it's interesting to see that somebody else having made the shift out of that left brain world into, you know, much more of the right brain and the intuitive and the metaphysical.
Well, we do have him on now. Joseph, how are you? Can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can hear you, Nancy.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that when you're not speaking, you have to mute your mic, and you know how to do that?
No.
Okay, when you, on the Skype, you're on Skype. Yeah, you're on Skype. We're on Skype.
I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, and you just mute it, and don't accidentally knock yourself off. I've hit the red thing. Don't hit the red thing. Hit the blue thing, and it just mutes. And then you're going to forget to unmute it, but we'll say, well, you're talking, but we can't hear you. So don't take it personally. It's just something that happens when we're on radio. I am Nancy Hopkins. It's nice to meet you. And Jan is with us, and Colleen Kelly is our producer. This is really your opportunity to tell us your message, and because Jan and you have history, I'm going to let her start, you know, just talking to you so that you can, you know, get a feeling for where you want to go. Okay? So I'm turning it over to Jan.
Okay.
Jan, are you unmuted? Can she hear me?
I did exactly what you said don't do.
I knew it.
I manifested that well. So, yes, hello, Joseph, and really nice to have you on the show. And after our disastrous attempt at a show on Wednesday, I'm really hoping that this one goes smoothly, because I'm really excited to hear about everything that you do. And just to do an introduction, we haven't actually introduced you yet, Joseph. So Joseph is a leading authority numerologist, healer, and spiritual leader. And he speaks on topics ranging from relationships and the law of attraction to life purpose and past histories. And as I said earlier, while we were waiting for Joseph to connect, he is not your kind of typical numerologist in the sense that he has a very extensive background in engineering, banking, and as an international sales manager. So a very different career to the one he's in now. His past is packed with degrees and certifications given only to people of science and logic. Yet Joseph's true gift appears in an area less frequented by typical scientists. So he's a #1 best-selling author, hosts his own radio show, and now has a new podcast, Numerology for Life. He's the creator of psychosomatic numerology, which I'm hoping we can get an explanation of during the show, which blends numerology, the healing art, and psychosomatic therapy that investigates how the mind and body interact and its effects on our personal well-being. So I'd like to say, come on board, Joseph, and I'd really like to start the focus of the conversation on the start of this year, the new year 2017, and what that has in store for us in numerological terms.
All right. Thank you, Janet, for introducing me. And hi, Nancy and Colleen. And I'm very happy to be with you today. And hopefully this retrograde will be behaving today. Well, it's been a hectic of retrograde for me this month. But what we can start, let's start with year 2017. But before we get into 2017, I'd like to go a little bit backward and lead us to 2017, because this year is going to be a unique, different year for many of us. And it's all started of year 2000, and year 2000, which is a shift in the universe into a female vibration. And we start seeing the effect of it from the movement from the 60s into moving, lots of equality start to show up a little bit here and there. But the male side still resisting it at one point, and they still were resisting it up to 2016 eventually. So the resistance is still there because the male dominance doesn't want to let it go. Now, so far went until year 2012 where the Mayan calendar stopped. And where the Mayan calendar stopped, it didn't stop because the universe is, our life is finishing. It stopped because it's going to be integrating a new consciousness, and which came the 5th dimension. And the 5th dimension started on year 5. And with the year 5, with this new consciousness coming in, which is the 5, it's a new beginning for all of us, and we started getting some of the shift. For very few of us, they felt the shift happening, but it started to integrate slowly. Until it came 2016, where it hit everybody. The majority of us. There's some more people going to be hit this year, eventually, into the 1 year. Now, this 2016, it was a 9-year cycle, which means it's the end of situation to start something new. And at the same time, we had 3 vortexes that opened really big time in September, which is on September 9, 2016, which is a 999, which is equal to 27, another 9, which is a 4 9's day. We had 3 days of those, September 9, September 18, and September 27. And where the integration of the new consciousness, the 5th dimension, comes in. And this is where the bigger hits start to show up. And eventually it touched even the election in the States because of that major shift. Now that major shift with the 5th dimension is bringing with it a lot of female vibration. And in my personal opinion, like for Hillary Clinton to lose the election, she lost it not because she's a woman. She lost it because she doesn't have enough woman energy. She have more male energy. And that's from day one, when the election started, I always was said, Bernie Sanders will win because he has the most female energy. Then he went out, then Trump became the second option, because we're shifting into a female energy, we like it or not. So it is in that perspective. Now we moved into 2017, which is the cycle has to finish itself continuously, because we started in year 5. So we have to keep going till year 5. So we still have another 4 years that we're going to have many shifts happening. So we have to complete our own cycle. So we're starting now with the year 1 that is going to bring in a new beginning on many angles for many aspects of life. And this is going to take place for the universal, because it's a universal shift. 2017 is universal. It's going to shift on many countries into many places on this planet, because this is the energy of it at this moment. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So from that perspective, so we're moving into that shift. So what for women today, the more women they have, the stronger female energies they can gain a big track going forward, because that's what's needed. We cannot have any more women with a lot of male energy in them, and that's very important to move forward. Any men who have a lot of female energy in them, they will keep moving forward too. So a lot of that has to take place, because we like it or not, there's a shift in consciousness. We like it or not. We might not like it because we want to keep resisting it, but unfortunately, we see the changes happened already in 2016, with Britain get separated, with Trump winning, with different things happening in the world that it doesn't make sense, and many things going to be revealed, by the way, this year. There's a lot of controversial topics that are going to be revealing themselves this year, because it's a 1-year cycle, and we're going to hear about things that have been done hidden is showing up. Discoveries of things from older civilizations might be uncovering into this year. So there's a lot of turbulences that are going to be happening into this year, because remember, 2017, it is a 1-year cycle, which is a new beginning, but it also has the 2, which is the female. It has the 0. There's a lot of gifts that are going to be showing up and coming out, and many people are going to start going more into the unknown. Then you have the 1 again, the leadership, to bring that leadership and the creativity that we can make it more fairness into this world. And then we have the 7 is all about our gift, and more people that need to start learn to trust themselves, because it's all coming up at this time, at this moment, all at the same time. So there are going to be things going into a rapid speed, because this is the way it is. And many of us decided to integrate into this lifetime at this moment to experience that, because this is the first time in human history we experience the 5th dimension. So this year is going to be the first year cycle on a universal level, but it's the first time in the 5th dimension. So we don't know how it looks like yet. We never experienced it before. Last year it was the first time 9-year cycle in the 5th dimension. We never knew how it's going to look like. Everybody still thinking about it from the older ways, but didn't happen. So there's a lot of shifts, there's a lot of changes. Just fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the ride.
Joseph, can I ask you, when you say 5th dimension, you're saying that we're already entered into the 5th dimension?
We entered into in December 21st, 2012.
Really? Okay. And what are you defining the 5th dimension as?
The 5th dimension is a lighter dimension. So it's a lighter dimension. We were living for too long into the 3rd dimension. So the 3rd dimension is heavy. Is a lot of programming, a lot of you have no opinion, because everything been programmed by governments, by religion, by cultures, whatever is the thickness of that. Many of those in the 5th dimension, they're going to go obsolete, because there is no space for them. The 5th dimension works in a very light energy. So, and it has a lot of female energy too with it. So it's going to make a major shift for many people that they still want to use the old system, the old ways, But unfortunately, they're going to be slapped in the face with it because it's not going to work. And this is why we're seeing many changes, many shifting into in different countries even into that aspect because it doesn't work the old way. So the density of that shift, as we're seeing it so far, is there's a lot of truth in it. Has to come out. So the old programming has to be dismantled completely. If we believe in the cabal or all of these different terminologies that we running around, well, they're going to be facing a lot of hardship in a sense because it doesn't work the old way unless they adapt into a newer form of version, and that means they need to loosen up on their power.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, when you speak in terms of dimension, because you're going back and forth between the third and the fifth dimension, and they can simultaneously exist in the same space?
No, the third is already gone. Between you and me is already gone, but there are some people that are still bringing it into the collection to try to save their neck, to stay in it, to keep the power eventually. So,
okay.
but we are already into the fifth, and the fifth doesn't care about anything from what happened before.
Okay, so we're sort of, I would assume, like, is a dimension like an age to you? In that I understood when the Mayan calendar was referencing was ages, was the cycle of the great age, and that because in 2012 you ended one and you started another one. So are you thinking in terms of the dimension being something that is an age, something that we transverse through so that we start in the beginning of it and then we go through? Or are you thinking of it more in the concept of place, in that it's a certain place that we have moved into and we are in the fifth dimension even though we still exhibit 3D bodies?
Yes, to be honest, I look at it from both sides at the same time simultaneously. But I look into the second way more than the first way. But we cannot disregard immediately yet the first as with changing age. But it is we're going into a different level of knowledge. So in this dimension, once it is integrated fully, many of us will be able easily, the way it's been coming to me, many of us would be easily start to even recognize certain past lives for them, remembering that, because it is less dense, it's very light energy, so we'll be able to remember stuff, we'll be able to see things, where we came from, how things used to be and how they used to happen. And when we were into the third dimension, we were completely under a complete programming. It's like watching the Matrix, and if you are the same run. When I saw the Matrix the first time, I said, "Whoa!" Somebody started to waking up to do something in that nature. When you have going against the machine represents what into our time is. Big government that represent all the cabal aspect or reptilians or whatever you want to call, it's the same entity. But I do look more into the fifth dimension personally in a way of the age, like the Mayan calendar have it that we're going to another age. But it's more to me, we're going into a different level. It's like we took an elevator and we went 2 notches up.
Very interesting. Now, how did you, numerology? How did you get into the numerology? How did that morph from your engineering? And where did you see the connections? Can you explain that?
All right. I did electrical engineering in Memphis, Tennessee. At 1985, I graduated. Then I moved to New York City. I did a master in computer science. And 3 months into that, I decided to quit. And I moved from New York City into Montreal, Canada. And somebody show me a book on numerology. And I was a lot good into mathematics. I like mathematics, and Pythagoras, someone I can relate to. Then I said, let me give it a shot. And then I started getting into the numerology. Now, from electrical engineering, what I learned about energy, vibration, and frequency, and we used to measure those things. And that's what I use in all my numerology work. I use it from a metaphysical way. Now, from the computer science, I learned about programming and deprogramming, and you can rewrite a command if you want to change the program. And this is what I use now into my healing work, into programming the subconscious and completely rewire the childhood experiences and completely change your life. And from those concepts, so that I learned them on a technical basis, on a very hard logic way of looking at it, I just transferred them into the metaphysical and into a form, into the healing aspect and the numerology. So I look at it into those aspects. Now, when I started getting deeper into it, I took a course for me. Eventually, when I took it the first time, I took it for me. It was psychosomatic therapy, and for me to just start to understand the body. And at that class, the teacher asked us our date of birth. She said, "Okay." I said, "What's for?" And she said, "From that, I can tell whatever might be a problem on the body because of the date of birth." I said, "Okay," but she asked me at the end. She said, "Can you take it further?" And I said, "Yeah," and I did. And from that, I discovered that everything we've stuck in it energetically on a mental or emotional level is going to affect a chakra. Now, it depends on what is located, where is it located into the chart of someone. Is it coming under their challenges? Is it coming under their karma or lessons or experiences that they need to learn, their subconscious, or even their destiny numbers? Those I transport them into a chart, a newer chart, which is reflect the chakras. And from those chakras, what might happen somebody physically if they don't deal with those energies, what physically as disease might show up into their life. And it was amazing when you tell a client, you can have this, such and such in your life if you don't do this. They said, "Oh, I already have that." So that's mean anytime we're going to keep holding into things, not dealing with them, it's affecting our body at the end. We're paying the price of it. If we're going to get stubborn into not moving forward into one thing, we can do that. We can make thousands of different excuses for not to handling our life. We can do that too. Nobody can tell us anything not to do it because it's our free will at the end. But at the end, if I keep complaining that I'm sick with this, I'm sick with that, maybe I should start questioning why I'm sick in the first place.
Okay, so let me understand this. You looked at the chakra system and you took your mathematical background and figured out a way to be able to give a number to a particular energy that is a chakra, and then to be able to make a determination as to what diseased is being caused because that chakra is out, but you did it with a mathematical formula.
Because that chakra has been blocked. Like, I'll give you an example. If you have a 4 vibration that is weak in your numbers, and 4 vibration represent the base, which is the grounding. So the 4 in numerology represent your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual stability. So if you don't have that stability, that chakra can go up and down. Now, the sacral chakra represents the 5. The 5 goes into your creative side, your creativity, your sensuality, your sexuality. And if somebody having problem in that department, that means we have to look into their regular numerology chart to see if they have a problem with 5. Because 5 is about freedom. So if they're having problem in getting some freedom, that chakra might get some blockage. I can go into more details into those separately. I'm going to give you all the run of all the different numbers with association with the chakra. Now, the solar plex, it's the 7 vibrations. So if I don't express enough my emotions and it was a 7 vibration, and I have a problem with trusting myself or believing in higher universe, and I keep doubting all my gift. I keep living in a dream state and having fear of failing or fear of success. That can affect the solar plex chakra, and we can see it on people on their body, how the body formulate. Now, the heart chakra comes with the 2 and the 6 vibration. So if I had the problem in the early childhood with the family, and I have things I kept it, maybe I was angry, I was frustrated, I was whatever it is, from the 2 or the 6 vibration, which is about responsibility, the 6, and is about health, is about family. So if any of those I had a problem, then that's going to affect my heart chakra. Now, if I have if I talk too much, but I don't talk good emotions, then I might have a problem with my throat chakra, which is the 3 vibration. And this is why for so many people, they always have neck problem or shoulder problem, and they need a massage here, massage there, and if you look into their life, they're not expressing emotionally properly. So they keep piling things on the inside. And this is why they have the stress on their shoulder and their neck, around their neck, because that's the throat chakra. Now, take it further from there. It's the brow is the 0 and the 9. The 0 and the 9, if you're disconnected with from communicating with your spirit guides or your truth, eventually your higher self, and you're afraid of the unknown. You keep running away from being afraid of the unknown and letting go of your past. And that's where the brow chakra can take effect around that area. And the one which is represent the crown chakra, where is your connection with your soul. How many of us are connected with our soul? How many of us are not connected? Now, what I did was that also we have the 8. The 8 vibration has 2 chakras, because 8 is about money, power, and achieving recognition. Now, the 8 has 2 chakras. One of them is the base, which is the same as the 4. And why is the base important for the 8? Because for some people, money is a physical problem. So they lived in poverty, which is, there's no judgment in all of these. It's just, this is where somebody is in their life experiences. Now, the second part of the 8 is also belong like to the solar plex, because for some people, 8 is emotional, which is that they raise in a family that keep telling them money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't, you need to work hard for your money. You need to, whatever is the notion they grow up from the family, growing up with that. So this is why the 8 has 2 split of chakras. And in one of my events, Consciously Living Your Destiny, when I teach about the numerology, how to do the numerology chart and how to do the psychosomatic chart, at the end I will say it as optional. If you like to see it on your body, you need to be in 2-piece bathing suit. Before, when I started that program, I used to have 75% doing it all the time. In the last 10 events, I had 100%, because how about if I see somebody and I tell them exactly what they're having the problem, and it's already there, because it is already on the body. I'm not making it up. I'm not looking into their numbers even. I don't care about seeing their numbers anymore, because it is on the body. So when I go in Vancouver here on the beach, anybody in front of me, I can say what the major issues they have, because it is completely on their body. So it is a little bit something mixing numerology and the chakras together, because I'm the only one who teaches it eventually for that. And I have now 12 people graduated from me. They're going to be talking about the same thing, because it is very powerful. When you go to a numerologist, they tell you all your chart. It's all logic. So with logic, it makes sense. You recognize few things. You question few others, which is okay. But when I'm bringing it back to the body, I tell them, you might have a migraine headache because of this. And they tell you, I have a migraine headache already. Or if I have Alzheimer's because of that. And look into somebody's life, why they have this disease, or why they have that disease. That makes a big difference to know it. I'll give you an example. I used to have a lot a lot of migraine headache myself in the early stage. This is before even I learned about all of these things. And without knowing, it all happened. So I had a very much migraine headache, and I had very big sinus problem. And all doctors, they need operations here, operations there. I said, no, I'm not taking any of this. So I said, I swallow whatever pain, I will swallow it. Now, the zero, and which is in my chart, which is sitting in my destiny also. So the zero is about the fear of the unknown and the fear of using my gift. And at that time, I was doing what I'm doing with numerology and everything, but I wasn't going full-time with it. I had a full-time job. So I was doing it part-time. In a way, I don't want to be seen yet fully. Till something happened into my life, and it forced me to start doing something, and I started being into the seen aspect, and without being afraid of the unknown. And that was 18 years ago. And since that time, I never had a sinus problem or even a migraine problem. So
you've essentially taken numerology, which gives you the numbers that indicate certain tendencies in your life, and you've been able to confirm the reality of those numbers because you can actually say to somebody, you got a migraine because those numbers are off. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. Because look, everything is energy. Everything is energy around us. You know, if you had a problem with mom at one point, and mom, you feel angry towards her, that anger is still, that energy is still surrounded around the etheric body on the outside. Now, anytime somebody mentioned the word and it hit for us to be angry, we have the same pain in the same place all the time. What does it mean? This means that energy is sitting on that corner of the body. And that has to be released in order to make it go away. Now, once you start doing that, you start having the flexibility to say, now let me liberate myself, let me get free from all of this nonsense, because it happened, this is the way it is. But the first aspect from numerology charts is to bring you the awareness. The moment you have the awareness, that's great. Now when we move it into the psychosomatic, and now you can see, I have these problems. Now, there's no place now to question it. Now, do you want to deal with it or not? Because I believe, personally, the body has the intelligence to completely make you sick and have the same intelligence to completely heal you. It's a matter of, for us to stop our resistance from moving forward. And most of us, the problem for us is the fear of using our powers, the fear of using our gift, and the fear of being seen. These are the biggest, and the mother of all fears is the fear of being seen. And that's from my personal experience in 25 years, that I keep seeing those fears that keep manifesting all over the place, because we're not paying attention to certain things in life, and we're trying to avoid dealing with certain things, and we keep piling it, and we keep attracting similar people into our life. And how many people you keep hearing, oh, I keep attracting same people in my relationship, I keep attracting same people at work, I keep attracting same people everywhere. Then we better ask ourselves the question, why? There must be something we're still not seeing in a proper way. What if I have similar attraction in my life? Then I'll need to question, who's those people that I keep attracting them, who they resemble to? Is it mom or dad? Because with mom and dad, we signed a soul agreement to come to this life. Why I chose those parents, I didn't choose the other neighbors' parents, they were nicer than my parents. So why I chose those? Because they have certain things and qualities, they're going to show it to me in order for me to grow. But if I want to keep avoiding dealing with that, then I'm missing out on my purpose. Because you cannot go where you want to be going in life without knowing where you came from. And this is where many of us, we keep hiding, we keep running away from facing things that happened a long time ago. We shovel it into the closet, hoping that nothing's going to show up in our lifetime, but it won't, because what we keep attracting is exactly those feelings and emotions that we've been running away from them. And we have to attract them into the next level of attraction after our parents or whoever gave us the worst nightmare experience. We're going to attract them in our relationships, and we're going to attract them in the people we work with, and we're going to attract them in our clients if we have clients that work with us. We're going to keep always attracting them unless one day we're going to face it and learn it. And there's no running away. When we go to university, we studied 4-year program. We work as hard as possible. I don't want to say the word even. So as hard as possible, we work for not to pass those exams in order to graduate. Well, we live in a school of life. And how come we're going to get to graduation and get into a purpose when we still keep flunking our starting up of that journey? So we are into a school of life. We cannot skip anything during lifetime because we have to keep learning until we achieve where we came from. Now, we came here for 2 reasons. We came, one thing, to learn certain experiences, and from those experiences, we're here to showcase what the soul can do from there on. But we cannot showcase what the soul can do without understanding those experiences. So what we end up doing, we start going after our labels. We label ourselves, oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a healer, I'm whatever it is. But these are only labels. But we need those labels in one way, in one form, because we live in a physical world. That's true. But anything we're doing today, once we clear up what happened in the past, I guarantee everybody will change and start doing something else in their life. Because the sole purpose, when the soul came in here, they came in for a purpose. They didn't come to work in McDonald's, for example, all their life. That's not the purpose for that soul. And especially these days, we have so many old souls back in here. First, because it is the first time few things are happening of the change of consciousness that's going on during this time. They want to experience it live. And the second part of it, this world is stuck. There's so much problems. So that we need the technology of those old souls to come back and to start doing some repairs. And we can start seeing it in the new generation. They're very open from a younger age. And they're not accepting what has been told to do. Easily.
No, the future is with the kids. They amaze me all the time. Jan, you want to come in and ask Joseph anything?
Well, I was just going to say how interesting it is that Joseph should be talking about needing to really face the past in order to move forward, because
Joseph, put your mic off, please. I'm sorry, Jan. It was feedback. Yeah, just turn your mic off.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was just saying that this concept of having to deal with the past in order to move forward, it's a process that I went through back in 2009, and it's also the first thing I do with my clients when, to actually understand all the things that are holding them back, the blocks, the limiting beliefs and everything else. I ask them to write a story about all the traumatic experiences, the real belief-creating, negative belief-creating experiences that, we've all had to some degree that really continue to affect us all our lives. So that was really good to hear that validation. But also, I'm really curious to know from Joseph, that having recognized this, how do you have a particular approach in terms of resolving these issues, this energy, these emotions that are linked to our chakras? How do you go about helping people to clear that energy?
Okay, everything is energy, right? If we agree on that, everything is energy. The table next to you has energy, the chair has energy, the book next to you, we are energy. Now, our energy comes in from our name and date of birth. Now, to me, what you all have this morning as a breakfast, if you liked what you ate in the morning or you didn't like what you ate in the morning, you cannot change it anymore because it's already processed. So it's too late for it. But I can make the change tomorrow to have something else. not to keep eating the same breakfast. So maybe the next day I can change, but whatever I ate this morning, I cannot change it. So if I go by that concept, anything that happened to me 25 years ago, I cannot change it. But the only thing I might need to change, which I am able to change, is to reverse the polarity of the energy that, or the feeling that I have from that time. So the way I work in my healing work with clients, only on the mental, emotional, not on the physical. Physical, it's a different process. I do it, but on the mental, emotional way of doing things, I'd say, okay, I don't care what happened into your life. I don't need to know the experience that you happened into your life. But give me 5 things, like maybe Dad did to you, and I just want you to know from you how he made you feel. I don't care about the story. I just need the feelings. Now, that person might say to me, one time I came from home, I had the painting, I was happy about it, very excited about it. I give it to my dad, he looked at it and he threw it on the table. I completely felt maybe I did something wrong, or maybe it was unwanted, maybe it was whatever it is. So whatever feeling we come from that. Or one day I came home and with my friends, and my mom started lashing at me, shouting at me in front of my friends. Now, how did she made you feel? Oh, she made me feel small, she made me feel angry, she made me feel this. Thank you, that's all I need. So through a meditation process, I will go into taking out those feelings. Now, when I go through that process, then I will say, bring me all the people till today, your age today, that came into your life, because these are the attraction later on that provide you the same feelings. Remember as many as you can. Then we go back with those people all the way to mom, and then we snatch them completely from our chakra, and in the same time I'll be asking them, where do you feel that feeling is on your body? When you're gonna be blowing, I want you to blow from that area. So to push it out completely. Now, what happened in there? Then what I do at the end, for me, when we finish the whole consultation with somebody, I will cut all the soul agreement we sign up with mom and dad and everybody else. Because technically those soul agreements, we don't need them. We only need them as a reference for us to go through certain experiences. But by cutting them, we're freeing ourselves, and we're freeing even our dad and mom and everybody else. Because they took the big leap of faith to give us those experiences because we asked them for. Because when we came here, we cannot do things on our own. So when we sat down in a different galaxy or different atmosphere, whatever we're going to call it, sitting and your soul asking, I'm going to be born into that year, and I would like to have those certain experiences. Who will provide them to me? And many souls are sitting around the table, and they said, okay, I will provide you the forgiveness piece. But then the soul said, I want to learn about 100% forgiveness. That means 100% forgiveness. That means there's going to be something major to be done in order to get 100% forgiveness. So, and that's going to be coming from somebody I love or I trust, and that's where it goes. So it means I need to learn that experience. So this is why I got that experience provided from one of the people in my life to provide me that experience. Now, my mom signed into different experiences. My brother, sister signed different experiences. Maybe one teacher signed for one experience. The bully guy for the secondary experiences that came after the first ones. And then so on and so forth. We signed a whole bunch of people that to provide us to learn the lesson at the beginning. Once we learn the lesson, now where I take people is to go to create the new you, which is who is the new personality that's coming out now from this, because you on your own now, you signed with maybe thousands, with maybe millions of people, doesn't matter the numbers eventually, that you're going to cross their path now and provide them that experience. But you cannot be there unless you clear up your own stuff first, because you're going to be the example. You cannot be a master of something without be able to master your lower vibration and walk in your talk, in a sense. So I do it in the process of all meditation. So it's not something I've found it because it's all energy. So it's not like it is something that I'm trying to erase that experiences. We cannot erase that experience because it's already in the Akashic record. It's already been documented. We cannot erase that experience as it never existed. It did exist. We're gonna come to terms with that. But we're gonna see what feelings that got from those experiences that made me feel angry about whatever. When somebody says certain things, I completely jump. It's not about today, it's about the experience that happened into my life is how I react to them. That makes a difference. So it's from those perspectives.
Yeah, completely.
Huh?
I really like that because it's again, you know, when I first started doing this work, and I'd been through this process of dealing with all my stuff. Well, not all of it, but rapidly dealing with my stuff, as it were. I actually had a shift of perspective. It was a bit of an intuitive kind of hit, really. But, you know, I'd approached it originally from people being kind of in victim mode about the experiences that they'd had growing up, the early experiences. But when I realized that this was really something that we'd actively chosen, and in fact is setting our curriculum for what we're here to deal with, you know, that shifts the energy around it completely from one of being a victim, being weak, to actually recognizing the power of that experience in terms of the life that we're here to live.
Because we did choose our experiences. We chose our parents, we chose our culture, we chose our religion. I mean, there's no difference between one born in the States and one born in Africa. It's all the same because we made different choices. You know, so if whatever we had in our life, we need to come to terms with it. And this is why I work in life.
I think.
Yeah. What?
Sorry, I was going to say, I think that what I've come across is one of the biggest challenges is where people have had a really difficult, abusive childhood, you know, really extreme abuse, whether that's physical or sexual or whatever, to actually accept that they've actually chosen that, particularly people who are, I mean, I actually did a session with somebody who's who's a very strong Christian, and I don't think she could accept that even the concept of reincarnation, and certainly not that she had actually chosen the experiences that she'd had early in life. And I think that's the big issue, that you know, that we're so conditioned to be the victim of circumstances, that these things are outside of ourselves and that they're outside of our control, that gets people into that powerlessness, victim mode, that says, you know, for me, somehow I've got to recover from this, without recognizing the value and the role it has played in the life that we're leading.
Now, personally, to me, if somebody has an abuse, physical abuse, to me it's easier than having somebody with a mental abuse. Because the mental abuse, sometimes they might not see it immediately what it is. Physical abuse, we know what it is, we go after it. So at least it is, you know, but in either one of those, we chose that experience for a reason. Now, when I do the relationship comparison between people, and I do it for their ancestry, they can see exactly the vibrations that keep repeating from the great-grandmother or grandfather and their parents and the grandparents and themselves and their kids even, and they see there's always one vibration or two vibrations running the same. And even when we start looking into their dating relationship, we can start seeing the same vibration running all over again, because it's running. And this is why I like to cut at the end all the agreements, because we need to free the one before us, and we need to free the one after us. And this is why I believe when we do the cut, it clears up 7 generations backward and 7 generations forward, because we all, from ancestry, we're all holding into the same chain for many generations. And this is why most of us, in most of humanity, what needs the most is freedom, because we're all locked in boxes through our religion, through our family upbringing, and through our cultures. It is prison, but we can walk in that prison, but still into 4 corners. So it's an open prison, but it's a prison. So we're all coming for that freedom, and I believe the 5th dimension is going to provide that to most of us who've not resisted it. So, and if the one who wants to resist it, they might have to leave earlier. So, and this is why in 2016 we saw so many people that we know about, as at least from stars and more famous people, because we are aware of them. They passed away, and in each one of us, we can see in our families even how many people they decided to leave in this last year. Because even if you don't want to go through it, you don't want to go through the new process, then, well, the universe is not going to change for each one of us, depend on how we would like to receive things. The energy is going in one way. If you want to go against the current, you're going to be slammed with it, and we don't know what's going to happen from there unless you walk with it, and the energy keep pushing you to move forward, and then you'll be freed from there, whatever that is going to take us. So it is a fun process. For me, it's a fun process, seeing the changes, seeing how even the outlook into the things that's happening, that is coming out, and how we still see some resistance coming out through the news, through different things, through the fake news even, just to keep the resistance alive, you know, because they know everybody's gonna get it this time, and we like it or not, you know.
So, Joseph, are we saying that we want to have everybody jump in the water and let go of the riverside, you know, just go with the flow? But right now we're going to have to take a break at the top of the hour. So if you don't mind, we're just going to take like a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back if you're all good with that. Yes?
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
okay with that. I'm okay.
Oh, okay, so we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Colleen, you got a tune? Are we back? I'm not sure what's happened. Colleen? Okay, very, very faintly. Okay.
All right, how about now?
There we go. Jan, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Joseph, you back? Okay, good. Okay, Twistwasher has asked us a question. We might as well approach it. What would be the sense of a raped and murdered baby's journey? What are they learning from such acts? Joseph, you got anything to respond to from that?
There is a different ways of looking at it. Now, any things happen in that fashion for a young kid, for a baby. Now, it has 2 interpretations for me, because we can have either rape, or we can come as even being sick at a young age. So, from that, it has two way I look at it. One part of it, that soul, it could be some coming back with a type of a punishment for themselves, for something they did before themselves. So they want to experience the second end of it, because we live in a duality. So if we done it to other people in the past, but we never saw how it affect on them, so we decided to come back ourselves to experience it, to see that end of it. Now the second part of it, like especially in the cases when kids are sick, coming into this life from early birth, and having problems all the time. One part of it is the same philosophy I talked about it before. They need to experience something that or a punishment, but also it could be also a lesson for the parents to learn through it. And many times with those parents, sometimes the parents having their own things that they need to start dealing with and looking at, and having a sick child with them, or even an abused child, might start giving them different outlook and perspective into life. And we can see sometimes in the parents that start doing, having their own association or different things for abusive kids, or whatever else they start creating through that and opening themselves for something else. Otherwise, if it didn't happen, it never happened for them in their life. This is my take, how I look at it from those perspective. But in either way, I'm not with it. I'm not condemning it even. It's an experience. So for me, it's an experience. I don't want to be stuck into the experience. I want to try to be out of it. Now, I have a phrase I usually say it, but probably on the radio they won't like me to say it, but I won't say it here. But I usually say it in my public speaking because it is in a way, we came for whatever experience. It's not, it's not the experience is about having this way or that way. It's like we're saying, who is better? Is it better to have an MS experience or have cancer experience? So really, does it really matter? At the end, it's an experience. We're coming for certain experiences. It's not about choosing the experience, which is better for me, which is not better for me. I can have this or this, but I'm still at the end, I'm sick. So it's not about the experience itself. It's how we get out of it, because it's been agreed coming into it, and for whatever reason, it is, so it's like, take an example for if you have Hitler as a soul, and that soul is coming back. So he have a lot of karma to clear up. And because of those karmas to clear up, so there's whatever experiences that soul decided to come for that redemption, for that soul to say, okay, I took it from those angles, I abused my power at one point, now I want to feel it from the other side of the equation, and this is where it is. But there's no right or wrong in that, and there's no judgment even. This is the way it show up, and I don't want to take it personally, I don't want to take it emotionally to be stressed over it. We chose our experience. It's like, why those kids suffering in Africa? We chose those experiences. It's not about right or wrong. And if somebody from those kids was able to survive that experience and get out, and some of them made a lot of things out of their life with those experiences. So it's all how we take it. If we had two kids being bullied, one become a bully himself, and one had opened an organization to fight bullies. So we all look to how we look into the experience at the end. So it's not fun to be into that experience, and we're not saying it is something that we recommend to have it done, but we need to review what our soul decided for us to come, and this is where we came for. When I came from my own personal experience, I came with a family that I didn't have much of any experiences, and somehow I felt I came earlier than I was supposed to be, and it was eventually verified to me by a strong medium in Scotland, the same thing. He said, you came like 75 years before you're supposed to come, and it was an emergency landing. So I didn't have the time from my soul perspective to prepare a lot of things for this lifetime. I just came with more clarity to me in order to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So we all chose different experiences, and there's no right or wrong with that.
Even if it means to crash land?
What's that?
I said even if it means to crash land?
Look,
because
sometimes we have to crash land in order to get up.
Right. Go ahead, Jan. I'm sorry to cut you off.
There's no right or wrong.
I'll give you. I was going to say...
There's no judgment with that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, Joseph. And, I was going to say, does this mean that, using this example in the question about the baby rape and murder, does that mean that there is a soul contract between that baby and the rapist, in effect? That they've come here and create that experience for the benefit of both of them? Or does, does the perpetrator just play a role for the pure benefit of the baby, for example? I mean, is it a very reciprocal thing?
Yes. Well, if you give me any person with whatever experience they had, and you give me the date of birth of both of them, I can tell you exactly what the experience between each other has to be. because it's a signed agreement. I can read the agreement through their date of birth, what they agreed on to have as an experience. Now, I'm not going to be defining it exactly as we have to have this one as a rape, this one as this, but the experience is coming from this vibration, and those things can adapt into that vibration. If I have an experience with vibration 4 or vibration 5 or vibration 8 between two people, I mean, 8 is a karmic number, so anything can go. It's like 8 is, if you put it sideways, is an infinite sign. It's like you're going from one circle into the other circle and keep coming into the same old routine. That's mean, if I had an abuse for somebody in the past lifetime, they came back in this lifetime, they did the abuse for me, now we complete the circle. And now we can cut that circle in order to free both of us. So from those angles, I look at it myself.
And do you feel there's a role here in the much higher degree of exposure that these acts are now getting? You know, you were talking before about the 2017 and how so much is being revealed and has been revealed in 2016. But this is also, is it potentially a role in that bigger picture of the ascension and the consciousness shift in actually raising the consciousness of the collective? Because, I'd like to cover a little bit of this because I was so interested in some of your take on the election. But, you know, my feeling was that a lot of the things that are coming up and being exposed are really instrumental in waking so many people up. So it's almost like there's a role at the microcosm level, but there's also a role at the macrocosm in terms of being the catalyst for this human evolution. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Oh, good.
Because there's nothing by coincidence, there's nothing by chance. But for me, if I look to the kids, the poverty in Africa and what's going in Africa is one of the biggest to raise consciousness into the world. And this is why there's so many philanthropy going and helping people in there. If they didn't have those problems there, nobody moved their butt from here and start doing something about it. This is why, in a way, it is a big awakening.
Yeah, we've got this contract that's done on a person-to-person level, but from what you're saying, you know, the people that are, as you said, that have chosen to come here at this time have also, in effect, got an employment contract to be part of the, part of the group that is here to stimulate the awakening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, if you take, for example, if I'm prejudiced against black and I keep doing everything against black, I guarantee you in the next lifetime I'm going to become born as a black to experience it, what it feels like. Because I've been so much rooted into this lifetime. And I've been very much prejudiced, very much whatever demeanor to it from that angle. If I am against one religion, I guarantee you're going to come into that religion, and eventually all of our souls came in all different forms of religions to experience how it feels there and what it means, that religion in that religion. So we're always going to keep, because the cycle has to finish itself. You know, we cannot have half a cycle. I went into this experience, I killed 20 people, and now I'm finished, so I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to come back, I'm going to be killed in one lifetime for me to see what it means to have my life cut off. And as simple as that. Yeah.
Is this why, you know, there's this, I'm seeing so many people talking about how tough, you know, some of the recent years have been. And I have read somewhere about, you know, this whole process is about clearing the karma from previous lifetimes. And this is why we're going through repeated challenges that are linked to the karma, just so that we can actually close all those loops on the karmic experiences to free us up to move forward into that higher dimension.
Big time. And this is one major thing that I believe that I'm here for, is to start bringing more awareness of freedom for people to stop it here. It's time to stop it. We don't need to keep coming as many lifetimes doing the same thing. From my perspective, if a soldier during the Roman times was killed suddenly without knowing what happened, and that soldier keep living, coming back lifetime after lifetime, and every lifetime he's, at least in every other lifetimes he might come and be a soldier to experience it again. And it's time to stop this charade. If I wanna stop wars, I need to stop the consciousness of those soldiers from keep doing the same thing over and over, because they're doing it blindfolded, because without knowing they're doing it, because it's collective of energy that is recycling itself internally with them without consciously even being aware of it. And that's where we have to stop. And this is where I feel why it is important to learn to cut all the nonsense that we've been dragging for centuries through the same families, through the same consciousness, through the same way of doing things over and over. And it's time to free ourselves and start coming back into a different world and a different consciousness. And this is where it is important to stop repeating it. Many people now are born into families where they're exhausted because they keep coming back into the same nonsense, and it's enough of that. I mean, it's enough of that, because it's time for us to start changing, and it's time for the female energy to start taking over, because we've been depleted through the male cycles that we had before, and it's time for that female energy till 2999 to start taking effect and be in control of that. But the female also, they need to shed off their male side that was dominating for them in order to protect themselves, because they've been abused through the centuries with the male dominance. And that has to change. The cycle has to reverse itself, has to be cut off at one point, and say, enough is enough, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's time for me to start reversing all of that and free myself from all this nonsense. And
with that in mind, can I ask you, with the rise of the female energy, is it conceivable that Trump is not the person we should be watching, but his daughter?
It can be, yes. It is yes, in a sense, because he listened more to her than anybody else, I believe. But remember, if we didn't have someone on the caliber of Trump, okay? If we didn't have somebody on the caliber of Trump who said those words about women, what he does to women, and the recorded segment that they recorded it to him. I lived in the States, and I heard the same talk he said for many years when I was there, from many different people, from everybody. And even in Washington, they probably all say the same word, but they're not recorded. Now, it is the first time in human century that women start talking about it publicly. They start mentioning it. So that means he awakened that in women to start, it's not acceptable anymore. Before, when I was in the States in the 80s, it's like everybody talked the same wording all over the place. And they've been still talking in the same word. So it's not like he was saying something different. But what he did, for me, he awakened the woman energy, the female, to start standing up for it, to start talking about it, to start coming out. And that is going to make the change for the next century coming ahead of us, because it's not going to be acceptable anymore. So for me, that's a positive thing.
I agree with you. The locker room talk, okay? Because at the time that it happened, I heard a lot of women say, "Oh, they always say that," and that was the problem, is that they always say that. You've got to stop doing this, because the thoughts, the words, just continually feed the energy. And I agree that when he got caught at that, it turned a lot of women started paying much more attention.
Big time. I agree with you here, because if it wasn't for him and his caliber where he is into the campaign and everything else, if somebody else said it, I mean, hello, I mean, like take it for instance, Robert De Niro came with a video what he was saying about him before what he said. I mean, watch Robert De Niro's movies. He was saying those words himself in those movies. I mean, come on. We have to start coming out into the truth of it. Now, he awakened women, from my perspective, he awakened women big time than ever been awakened before. And we have a lot of women that start leaning more towards him because he was talking more truth than seeing what Hillary Clinton as a woman, but all the baggages that start to show up from all the different angles, she's not doing better either herself. But so everything is hiding there. So at least from that perspective, I give him a full credit on it because even though he had to suffer through whatever was said, but he's awakened a lot of people. That's all I can say about that. And
have you run the numbers on him? Do you know what his numerology looks like?
I ran it at that time. To be honest, I was going to do an article about the three candidates at that time, and I got so busy and I forget about it. And me, I'm not so much interested in politics because to me it's all nonsense. And so I haven't, but I did their numbers. I don't have them in my head at this moment. But from a long time ago, I said if Bernie Sanders is not there, it's him who will be winning anyway. And that's what happened. So, because vibration-wise, he is a better fit than Clinton. If Bernie Sanders, he could have wiped him out because he has stronger female energy. But unfortunately, they chose that road. And eventually, it might be a better choice eventually than Bernie Sanders because he has the guts to do something about it. And because he doesn't care about what he's saying. He just say it the way he sees it. And maybe that's what we need, somebody in Washington at this point. And hopefully he'll be able to last because he's going to have a lot of resistance, I guess. So, and that's where it is.
Now, did you feel that the way that the vote went, that he was elected, what was your interpretation of that? What can you say about the voters that went that way? What was the change in the voting population?
The change is on an unconscious way because the vibrations start to hit. As I said in September 2016, there was three major shift into the consciousness integration because three vortexes opened and start bringing that energy. And from that time, and I believe during that time when the recording for him about women started, if I'm not mistaken, through that period of time, and from that the shifts start to shift in many people. Now, many people, they didn't say it publicly because they were afraid to say it publicly. They would be voting with him. But that major shift, and I will give you an example. On September 9, the first vortex opened. And that first vortex, when it opened at that time, it gives the potential to do many different things through it. So on September 11, I did a meditation. I did a call for the 9/11 and to release the 9/11 energy. I did that on 9/11. Now, during the call, it was on Sunday, I believe. Before the call, I went to the beach and I tried to get into that vortex and close the 9/11 energy field. And I did that. I tried it 9 years ago. I wasn't able because I wasn't able to get through it. And when this vortex opened on 9/9, I was able to get into it. Now, how it happened, how I saw it. When I was on Facebook before I went to the beach, there was a memorial going on in New York City at that time on Facebook, and there was 4,200 people watching it. And I went to close the vortex, and it took me 7 minutes to close it. It wasn't very hard. It was because the energy is totally changed now. And I closed it. I destroyed that energy that bringing that negativity through the 9/11, and I came back and looking at Facebook. Now I saw there was 90 people. Already 4,110 people dropped out the moment the vortex closed. And then when I did the meditation with everybody on that call, and people saw, I got so much talk about it at that call for what came out of for many people who were on the call to listening to it and never thought I have that. And this is coming from people from not even living in the States, because that vortex, when they opened it in 9/11, it brought so many energies. So every time they want to remind you with something, they put you a picture of 9/11. And then everybody will remember it through whatever feelings that have been attached to it. And that it's a vortex opened in a negative way. And we have so many of those. Now, if they want to scare you with something, they tell you ISIS. It's the same thing. We have more people dying from car accidents than having going from ISIS hijacking or whatever it is. So, but they will remind you with that by giving you the image of that. And that's a programming. And this is what the media did a great job of it throughout the centuries, eventually. So, and that's where what we need to start closing is to close the vortexes that opened in the wrong way. And that has to be done. And I'm doing a lot of that. And especially now I'm closing a lot for people who are into any type of forces, into that they keep repeating being into arms and forces and being into armies and the police and everything. If we stop that energy flux into them, maybe they drop their weapon and stop fighting, even if they get authority to fight. And that we can have it changed.
What's sourcing these vortexes? A vortex goes between one point and another. What's the vortex points? I mean, how are you seeing it?
Like for me, the way they come to me. Somebody else might be doing it different ways if there's somebody else doing it, and probably there are other people doing it. And the way I look at, I get to a vortex point, and through that vortex point, I get elevated through kind of either transporter or an elevator sense of it, but I got transported, and then I see different hallways that are more darker vortexes that are sitting between two cross points, and those ones that I shut down, and then I go escape back from the main rod of vortex that I came through, and I leave from there, and I destroyed the closure of energetic. Remember, this is all energy closing, so it's not like it is about physical things in front of me. It's all represented through energy. And when I see a black hole or a white hole, it's not the same interpretation for me. So I know that black hole is bringing some negative influx to it, and that has to start to be closed. And I'm testing it now. I'm seeing what's the effect of it and how it can change in people's way of looking to things, because it's time for that energy to stop. It's not everything set. Yeah.
Was the 9/11 vortex created from the thoughts of the people that experienced it?
Not necessarily. There was some phenomena behind it to bring some people into being more controlled and manipulated through some experience, and we all felt it in a different ways. And this way, unfortunately, those people, the same people, they keep manipulated over and over until at one point it's going to start. When you put 9/11 on TV now, it won't make any difference. So, but it has to be closed in order not to make any difference. If it's still open, from my perspective, the way I've done it myself, it was closed, and I made sure to be closed at that point. But so whenever you put 9/11, it will be lesser effect. Now we need to release also. Still, we need to release what emotions left for us, and this is why in the future time I'm going to be releasing that meditation to have it on my website. Anybody can download it and make it available. And
well, listen, I've got a real test here for you, because I wrote a book called The 9/11 Crusade.
okay.
Now, it's fiction, but I wrote it fiction because I found that when I tried to explain what had happened to people, they would glass over and leave the room. They couldn't handle the information. So I thought, okay, the basic. Can you mute your mic, please, Joseph? So what I thought was happening was that they just couldn't handle the concept of something so evil being done by anybody. And so I thought, well, if I write a fiction, they can kind of like understand why some people might do something that would be interpreted as evil, even though in their own minds they're not evil people. They're not doing evil. What's the rationalization behind some evil act? And in this one, it was, of course, 9/11. So I wrote the fiction. Now, why I'm saying this is a test is because I'd have people say to me, "Oh my God, this is a really good book," and then they'd stop talking. And then finally, I started asking people, "Did you finish the book?" Well, no. Well, how far did you get into it? And interestingly enough, they all stopped reading it at the same point, the point that the attack was actually going down. They couldn't go through it again because they had post-traumatic stress. When they would read the book, they would go back into the emotional trauma that they went through on that day. I'm not that bad a writer, apparently, because I was twigging all the triggers and they went right into stress. So if now my book takes off and everybody's reading it, we know that energy of emotion has been put out of the picture. And now
I read it to the end, Nancy.
Yeah, that's right. Jan did. There were quite a few people that did, but it was so interesting to me that you know, I think that was my interpretation, that they couldn't. But you know, it'll be interesting to see because you can get it free on. I mean, I've published it, but you know, I finally put it out as a PDF, and you can go to cosmicreality.net and go to the store, Shungite store, and you can go down and you'll see books by N.L. Hopkins, and just go there because you can buy a copy, but you can get the free PDF also. Or you can go to cosmicreality.com, and there's also links directly to the PDF. One's com and one's net. Either way, you'll get to us. But because I find that very fascinating, Joseph, that you would see a vortex of that energy. Because we know that when it was happening, they had satellites that were turned around looking at Earth, and it was really taking in measurements of the electromagnetic energies of the planet, and the equipment spiked on 9/11. It was beyond artificial. You know, there was no way that natural electromagnetic radiation backgrounds could possibly do this, and yet all of a sudden their systems were going like haywire, and they figured it's got to be some response by the human beings to this that actually was affecting electromagnetic fields.
It does affect because we all have time bombs in ourselves in energy. So if those emotions went too strong and as we're all emanating the same energy up into the air, it's gonna be it's like it's a strong power, you know. It will have an effect, and those whoever came behind it to create that vortex, that negative vortex, to be in control of many things and we saw many things that was affected and happened because of that vortex that opened. And
absolutely. Leaving that subject for a minute, because I do want to answer this question, and we might run out of time sometimes, we lose it. Bativa is actually asking, I would like to know when he talks about cutting the ties, can he expound on this? Does he mean visualizing cutting the cords on the astral, or is it something more?
Okay, the cutting the cord, usually I do it at the end. I don't do it in the beginning, because I need to take off first the emotions attached to those people that give us our worst nightmare experience. So I need to first go to that. And cutting the cord, yes, it does cut from the astral, from the physical even, because I will assist somebody for them to cut it. It's not me who's going to be cutting the cord. I will assist them for them to cut it, for them to feel it differently on themselves than me doing it for them. Because it is their experience, it is their learning through it. And it is cutting it through their chakras, removing that energy from the chakras, because we do have 7 main chakras. I worked, for the cutting, I worked for 9 chakras. So the 2 higher chakras are the one with the agreement signature that the soul and that those people that we experienced with, we connected to the agreements, and those I removed from the energetic field of the chakras, and that applies into us. So once we have those cut, the one you might have a problem with, you might start experiencing a completely new version of them that you never experienced it before. So if you had problem talking with them, you might start talking with them as normal without even caring, because you released them from the obligation they had before, because for what the signatures they signed to provide you that experience in that fashion, now you release them from it. And that release, it becomes very essential, and for both parties to be free, and that's very important. Now, for me, the childhood experiences, if I am doing it one-on-one with somebody, it shouldn't take more between 10 to 12, 13 sessions maximum. Because to me, it's a waste of time if we do it more than that. Because what's the point? We're not going to change what happened. We're not going to cry over, or keep staying into the feeling of being victimized. We're going to get over all the feelings that are attached from those experiences. We're going to get rid of them, and we're going to cut the agreement. And we don't care what happened. Now we're going to look into what those experiences are trying to show me for me to become. And we're going to start looking forward from there. Not we're going to stick and keep talking about what my dad did to me or what my mom did to me. Who cares? Because it's time to move forward. But we don't want to move forward and keeping everybody in the backpack and moving forward. It doesn't work. Because the further we keep going, the heavier that backpack will become. And at one point we have to drop it all together. So we have to free that backpack first and then start moving forward. It is energetic. It is through the astrally, but also from the connection into our physical, from the chakras point, and release it completely.
So when you talk about cutting the ties, you're talking that the person would need you as a facilitator to go through the process of this. Is this correct?
They can do it with me saying the meditation. Or I'm doing it live with them. I can do the meditation with them, and they cut it while whatever I'm saying. They just will follow what I'm saying. And,
okay.
But they're doing it, the action themselves, because I want it to be from them coming, not from me.
Okay. Can you give people your email, your website, so that if they feel that they would like to pursue talking to you, that they can contact you?
Yeah, it's www.freespiritcenter.ca. Free Spirit, Free Spirit, Spirit Center, CENTRE.ca for Canada. And TRE, I write it into the Canadian way, so TRE, and they can get to me through that, or they can connect with me on Facebook, the freespiritcenter.ca, or my regular page, and but there is a lot of ways of doing it, and I'm not saying the way I do it is the only way. There's many ways to do things, but we need to start cutting, because in order for us to stop attracting the same old, and it's time to free ourselves and move forward, because we all are here to do something important, not we are here to be stuck in what we've been having before, and it's enough to keep eating the same tomato soup. It's time to have different type of soups in our life, because there's plenty of different things to enjoy at the same time.
Let me ask you, do you find that there are some contracts that can be made by your parents that you don't even have any knowledge of?
Big time. Why not? Yeah, why not? Because your parents, they know they're not going to be able to deal with them if they are coming from a generation in the 1800s, for example. At that generation, they were, if somebody's get married with somebody, they're going to live for life. They like them or they don't like them. So they know they're not going to finish their work. So their children comes in, and they try to finish the job for them on their behalf. Then the children get stuck the same way, the next generation of the 1940s, because they're still getting ingrained for every programming that their parents gave them through the time of depression and the whole charade of that and everything else. then their kids comes in. And this is why when I say the ancestry, they're all running into the same number, the same vibrations that keep repeating between all of them, because the lesson is not learned. And this is where this generation will try to have it. Let's free ourselves, let's free everybody from before us, and let's clear it up. Because if my great-grandmother, she didn't deal with whatever is, her kid might be born in me or in my brothers or sisters or their kids at one point, because they need to stay into the same family background in order to liberate them. But if I took the chance myself and cut it from my side, now my great-grandmother doesn't need to come into the same experience anymore. I've freed her already. So she can go to do whatever she wants to do, and God bless her, and that's all it is. And
so by making a change in the present, you actually make a change in the past and the future. But the past is more interesting at that point.
Yeah, you're freeing everybody from the past, that they don't have the obligation anymore to come back and redo the same thing. As I said before, if I was a soldier in the Roman time, I don't want to keep coming and dying every war that created after that. So it's time to liberate that notion, and it's time to free myself in all of this nonsense, because we've been told, so growing up from every civilization that passed into, to keep everybody as a slave, to do whatever you've been told from whoever is in control. And we've been going through that, through the whole thing. Now, slavery in our days today is not the same slavery it was during the Roman times, but we have a new form of slavery. It's through the credit card and the debt that putting everybody in ties that they're not able to do anything because they're all in debt. And that's another form of slavery that is in our future generation just need to start to awaken to, and not to put themselves into it.
So because I happen to agree with you that if you make a change in the present, you can absolutely change. It's almost like we've got all these timelines, and if you make a change, it's going to affect the past.
You make a change, you can make a change for present and future, and definitely it will affect all the past.
Right. Well,
because you're liberating yourself from every aspect of anything that is possible. So, and as I said again, it's all energy. Energy keep traveling with us, all our consciousness, the way we keep running it, the same circle. Because whatever I don't finish in this lifetime, I'm taking it to my next one. So, do I want to come back and do the same thing in my next one, or I better finish it now and finish the story? That's a choice I need to make. Like last year or last 2 years, I had many clients for me. They were between age 70 to 75, and they want to close everything before they leave. And eventually they did that, and from the one I'm still in contact with, they're having a great time now, because they're more liberated, they're more free, they can still do anything they want. And eventually some of them are helping old folks, and they're even older than them, you know, because they're more liberated themselves, and they can do more things because they don't have anything attached to them anymore. And that's the way it should be. But because anything we don't learn it in this lifetime, we're gonna take it with us for the next one. That's a guarantee.
So if I've heard you correctly, we can influence the chakra systems by emotional stress that is being brought down to us through our family, simply because of the way that the family has continued to reinforce a given energy.
Yes.
And also, what does that have to do with genetics? Are the genetics, the DNA, being affected by that energy so that we have propensities for certain situations, not just physically but emotionally? Because again, the genetics are recording the energies.
I mean, if you did the cut, do you think it's going to change your genetics? Definitely it's going to affect all your genetics, because you're completely saying, I had enough of that, it's enough, and it's time to take another change. And we can change our DNA, we can change our genetics anytime we make a different free will choice, and we take our life into different angle. We can alter everything we want to alter in this lifetime if we choose to, because it's a free will. So we have the capacity to do it, but unfortunately nobody been doing it because nobody been saying it to anybody. You can do that. You know,
well, nobody was letting us. Really, they talk about free will, but then because what we discovered is that the dark side has to have your agreement to do anything. But what they decided was that if you didn't say no, then it was a yes, even though you didn't even know there was a question asked. That's how they've gotten under a very loose interpretation of what free will is. And, you know, a while back we realized this and we sort of said, no, we're changing the rules back. If we don't hear a question and we give no answer, that means no, not yes. You know, it's like we are taking charge. If we don't tell you it's okay, then no, it's not.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
go ahead.
10 years ago I wrote an article called "You Are Cursed." And in that article, it went viral on the internet at that time. And what I say is basically, if somebody tells you you are cursed, if you believe them, then you are. If you don't, then you don't. You're not. As simple as that. Because you still have your free will. Anything can pass your free will if you don't agree with it. If you agree with it, then you're hooked into whatever circumstance of that agreement. If not, you're free from it. You're not cursed. If somebody say to me, if I go to a psychic and said that psychic, oh my God, you've been cursed in the family and blah blah blah. If I say, oh my God, this is probably why I have all these problems, then now you're getting to the spell of that curse, whatever that curse is. But actually, you don't have nothing because you agreed with it. Then you allow it to happen. And that's how I look at things.
I hear you, man. I hear you, because I mean, I know for a fact that there are all these demons and entities out there, but they don't affect my reality. I wrote a book, and the book is entitled Cosmic Reality. In the first part of it, it's with talking about how I started discovering the unraveling of the Matrix. When I finished that book, it was so scary because I didn't know what to tell people, how to get out of it, how to free ourselves. It was just like this big but. And for the next 8 years, the universe taught me the rules of cosmic reality. And the first rule of cosmic reality is reality is what you think it is. The second rule is majority rules. And that doesn't mean numbers. It means how much intent and how much focus you have on a particular outcome. The third cosmic reality rule is that those people who were in control keep you ignorant of the first two rules. If you don't understand your own power, that reality is whatever you think it is, then they just keep you blind. As soon as we discovered that, and when I first started writing about it, and I put those things on Facebook, I wasn't getting any responses. But now everybody seems to understand reality is what we think it is. So we are in your reality right now, Joseph, and would you like to, we've only got like 9 minutes left, would you like to kind of like give a summation of what you want people to take away?
I mean, we are into a new reality. Is what you believe is true, then it's true. Now, if I give you an example, if I said I come from a childhood that I felt abandoned. Now, for me, if I say abandonment, it was the end of my world, then it is. Now, for somebody else might have an abandonment. They said, "Oh, thank God that I was abandoned by my first parents. I have a great parents now." So abandonment for them is a positive. So it's everything, any reality we take, it's whatever we want to take it from, and we can take it and go to the bank with it and make us a good money, or we can go and we become into debt with it. So whatever we want to be into life, it is a choice for us. We've been deprived of that choice for many years by culture, by religion, and by our programming through the media, through the government, and everything else. So it is a choice to start awaken. Are we going to be awakened to our advantage, or keep listening to everybody else and believing what they're saying? It's a choice. We have the choice to move this way or that way. And there's nobody telling you not to do otherwise. They're only leaving it up to you. Maybe they can get you into feeling guilty and moving towards one thing that they want you to move towards it, but still you have the choice, you know. And the way I look at it for everybody to start doing, before you say yes to anything, take a deep breath. As simple as that. Take a deep breath before you say yes, before you say no. Take a deep breath. Bring some air into your brain to start thinking instead of reacting. And that's where as small as that, we can make the change in ourselves. Just breathe. We don't breathe enough, and sometimes because we don't breathe enough, when something happens in front of us, we react to it. And that reaction can cost us a lot. So we need to start changing our way of doing things slowly. I'm not saying you need to become an expert tomorrow, but you are an expert anyway. Because we all come from a knowledge in us that can make us and take us throughout the whole lifetime without being stuck behind all the notions of all the programming of what's going on. We have the free will. And this consciousness today that is coming and manifesting with us, and we're coming into it for the next 4 years to have it completely surrounding us all, is going to help us all to make it better and easier decisions. You don't have to be sick if you choose not to be sick. It's your choice. You don't have to be into a bad relationship if you choose not to be into one. It's your choice. But don't justify it and start making excuses out of it just to justify why you're not getting out of that relationship, why you're not getting out of that sickness. Don't justify it for anything else. They tell you you need to be sick, you need to have those medications. Don't question those medications. Question things. Don't take it for the sake of just saying yes to anything because that's what everybody's saying. Who cares what everybody's saying? What you think about it yourself. And that's what we need to start changing into that consciousness and into that awareness that everything can be possible to change. I don't care how bad your childhood was, you can completely flip it in no time. If you choose to flip it. Don't say, I need to change or I want to change. I want you to start saying, I choose to change. It's not by needing or wanting that you're going to change. Because when you think you need and you want, that you believe in you that it's not going to happen. Because it's something you don't have. You know, but when you choose, you give yourself the permission to choose something else, then you are more empowered of it yourself. And that's what we need to start applying into our life and to make our life change to the better.
Dan, do you have anything to add or ask Joseph?
Not without creating a conversation that's going to go way past the finish time. So I just feel as though it's been a really interesting conversation that we've had and gone into areas I didn't expect. So, of course, everything goes with the flow. And to get Joseph's perspective on, you know, what's going on at the moment has been fantastic.
Look, life is simple, but we complicate it ourselves.
Yeah, good point. I thank you so much for being with us. I mean, it's just been a pleasure to have you here. Do you have any events coming up or anything you'd like to announce?
I have one program online coming up. It's called Release and Renew, and in that program, I'm going to be working on 9 fears that we all have. Every week is a different fear. The first fear to release will be the fear of the unknown. The second week, fear of using your power and gift. The third week, the fear of failure and success. The week 4 is the fear of not being good enough. And week 5, lack of commitment. And week 6, I'm always broke. Week 7, the fear of rejection. Week 8, I'm not worthy. And then week 9, the fear of being seen. And this is coming up soon. And in the beginning of February, I'm also having something online coming out for the vision board. For a vision board, and this is a 4-week program, and to have a vision board that really works, that really manifests without making any fuss about it, and we're going to be releasing everything around the pictures that can be in a way for you to, your subconscious to stop it. So this is one thing that is coming up at this moment for me. And, you know, as I said, today I posted it on my Facebook. We have two choices in life, and very simple. We can choose life and live fully, or we can choose misery and keep creating excuses until the moment we say to ourselves, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Enough is enough. There must be a way out, and always there is a way out for you. And that's is possible for anything to completely switch our life.
And what's your website again?
www.freespiritcenter.ca, and center is written CENTRE.ca.
TRE?
Yeah, TRE.
Is that Canadian spelling?
Yes.
It's actually it's English spelling. I think the Canadians inherited it.
Oh wow! I'm glad you said that because I would not have done that.
You know.
Okay.
So this is the way. I mean, look, life is simple, and I do really mean it. Life is simple. We complicate it. So.
That's a good message to leave on. Colleen, you got Emily coming up, I believe. Emily Norcross and hubby. Glenn?
Yes. I'm not sure what they'll be doing this evening, but yes, they're coming up next. And then
Excellent.
I'll be doing Producer's Choice throughout the evening with replays of today's live shows once I get them edited and stuff. So that's what's coming up.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, listeners. And we will see you, I don't know, what is today? Today's Saturday. We'll see you Tuesday then. CosmicReality.com. And, of course, we've got more programming coming up here. And tomorrow we've got the alternate Sunday. And then there's Monday. And everything happens on Wolf Spirit and Haggy Shack. Thanks, everybody, for coming on and listening. And, Joseph, again, appreciate meeting you.
Thank you.
Be safe, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Nancy. Bye.
Bye, Colleen.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
You've been listening to Say What on Haggy Shack Radio at haggyshack.com. Simulcast to Wolf Spirit Radio.